Hello, beautiful Empresses. Thank you for joining us once again on Embody Your Empress. I'm your host, Sarah King, and today we have a truly amazing guest. She is a personal friend of mine, as well as I have the honor of calling her my mentor. Today we are joined by Trish Rock, Soul Expansion Mentor. Now, Trish is a dedicated person just helping mature women move through to a place of meaning. So important. A place where they can have a renewed sense of purpose and direction, and most importantly, creating a deeper inner peace that they may not have felt for some time. She guides people through to transcend fear, self-doubt, and limiting beliefs and step into your soul truth. And I can put my hand up to that. Trish has guided me for many years on my path to a soul journey. You know, she really empowers you to embody your authentic self. Couldn't even get my words out. I'm so excited on that. And with Trish's unique blend of spiritual mentoring and transformational coaching, as well as her intuitive guidance, she creates a safe space, a compassionate space, and a place for self-discovery and transformation. Trish, welcome to Embody Your Empress.
Andy, thank you. I'm so excited to be on your podcast.
Oh my gosh. I think we need to start by sharing with the listeners how we met. We met all the way back in 2017, and Sarah had not had her spiritual awakening yet. She was just starting to get the taps on the shoulder from the universe. And suddenly on my Facebook feed pops up this event that was giving away a free crystal. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm just getting into this whole crystal thing. I'm going to go and get me a free crystal. And then I panicked because I had never done a meditation before, never done one in public. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go on YouTube and practice this, because what if I stuff it all up? What if I'm really bad at meditating? What if I do it wrong? So I had to practice before I turned up to your event, and I was such a Trish Rock groupie after that. I was there every single one.
That's so funny because, I didn't realize that you'd practiced before you came.
That's the transformation.
Yeah, but you were just such a quiet, mousy kind of person there in the room. Is there someone there? Because, compared to now, like, you've just got such a voice, out there really helping women. And so that first meditation probably freaked you out too, because I would have brought some spirits in and given you some messages on whoever was around you. So,
well, it didn't freak me out, but your sessions definitely opened my eyes to the amazing things in the universe that we cannot see with our eyes.
I remember you coming along, and it's been a wild ride, hasn't it? These past 9 years or whatever it's been, 8 years.
What is? I over those past years, you have even authored another book, which is called The Peace Process.
Yeah.
How did you get from what you were doing to that point? Do you want to tell us a little bit about you and your journey to that?
Yeah, sure. So I was in the salon industry from the age of 17. After my lifelong ambition was to be a fashion designer, right? So I studied that in school, and art and sewing and all the rest of it. And then I got cold feet filling out the application form for East Sydney Tech at the end of year 12. And then, so I just didn't do it. I didn't have the confidence to do it. And so then I sat around the house for about 3 months until my mother told me to get off my ass and go and find a job. Because I was very depressed. Like, you study for 5 years at school to do something and then you don't do it. I was lost. Like, well, what do I do now? So then I went and got this job as a manicurist, and that was it. That was ended up my career for 30 years. I was really good at it. It was easy, just something that came innately to me. And I built very successful businesses around that. But then it got to the point in 2009 where I was really enjoying bringing in all of the messages to people, psychic messages. And I guess I was at the point where I realized I was doing it, because I was doing that at 17 as well. I remember people my age now, 60, coming in, and I was 17, and I was giving them advice on career, marriage, health, and they were taking it like.
Really? They didn't question? What is this young girl telling me?
They were taking these messages, but so I didn't realize. I just thought everybody could do that. But as the years went on, I thought, no, I'm really giving them all this stuff while I'm doing the nails. And I think it came to the crux when a client came in and said to me, "Oh, I'm so excited. I went to a psychic last week, and she said this, 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 and that." And I'm like, "Okay, I told you that 3 weeks ago."
No way.
Yeah. And that's when I thought, okay, I like bringing these messages in because it's easy. I like doing the nails because it's easy, but people aren't there to get messages from me. They're there to have their nails done. And so anything I bring through is irrelevant for me, for most of them. Some of them book it in. So I thought, I think I need to change this and go off and just really start helping people at a bigger level. So I left all of that and started this new career. And it really took me probably 5 or 6 years to really own it. It was still like, okay, well, I need to go and build another business or get a job or bring some money in so that I can then do what I love or be what I love. But you have to own who you are. And that took me, a good 5 or 6 years to really say, well, this is who I am. This is what I do. And I'm owning it. And once you own who you are and your capabilities, that's when all the opportunities start kind of opening up. So when I first changed careers, I actually went back to the nail salon industry as a coach. I wrote my first book and created a program and did a few things in that arena, and then wrote another few books after that. But this book that I've written now, which I wrote 3 years ago, is more of my personal journey rather than a business guide, if that makes sense. So even though I'd written, a handful of books before this one was a bit scary to press the go button on because it's more personal and you're up for criticism. Like, you're sharing your life with people, and it's like, okay, I'm going to push the go button, and what are people going to think?
It's a vulnerable space to be in because you are open to judgment from anywhere and everywhere just for showing your soul, right?
Exactly. And when you're talking about something else, like when I was talking about a business concept, it was different because I could separate me personally from that. But when you're talking about you personally, and the same from your book, it's like it can be really scary. But it's also very good because once again you're owning things. And it's like, what I've been through is going to help somebody. So my job to get it out there. My purpose here in this lifetime is to experience these things and share it. So I got that out, and it's got a really powerful process in it, which has helped a lot of people. And it's also, I feel like it's just a book that inspires people to kind of go, okay, well, everybody gets to rock bottom. Everybody gets to that fetal position in the corner of the room.
Definitely. Many times.
More than once. And it's a choice of how we feel about it. So it's been really good publishing that book, the audio version as well, and then the programs that have come off it. Yeah.
I love it. Before I ask you a bit more about the detail of the book, you mentioned owning yourself, like stepping into your truth, just being who you are really authentically. What are your top tips on doing that? Because that can be a very scary process where you're standing on the edge of that cliff and you're like, do I go all in on me?
Yeah.
What did you find helpful?
can be really scary. Well, the first couple of years, I thought that I needed to get all of the certificates. I thought that I needed validation that I was what I said I was. And so, you go and do all the courses and you do the stuff and then put it in your bio and well, there it is. I've done this, this, and this. Now will you believe who I am? But ultimately, you have to believe who you are. And I don't put any of those things on any of my stuff anymore. I've got a whole drawer of certificates.
Taken down from the wall. No one sees it.
No, that's the other thing. I used to have them all on wall as well. I had them all in a frame because maybe it was that time of life as well where people just needed that. But I think now people don't really need that validation from somebody. They just tune into their energy. And, once you kind of realize that, but to truly own who you are, I think it, you've got to know it first. You've got to know who it is, and it's not what you do. Not what you do. It's different. So you can get out. So I could have got out there and owned all of my skill or gift, but if I hadn't have owned that I was the one doing them, then it wouldn't have been a match. Does that make sense? So if I could certainly be out there and going, yes, I'm a psychic and I can do this and I can do this and I can do this. But I fully own who I am now, and I'm really here to, experience life and share that with people, and then that comes in all those gifts that I have. So the first thing would really be to, really get down to what really brings you joy in life, and really own that about yourself, because that's really what we're here. Whatever that brings you joy. And then you just need to get to jump off and just get it out there. I guess for me, writing something on socials is kind of a soft way of getting out there, but that really scares a lot of people too. But you could put a small statement in your bio.
Yes.
Could start with something.
It scares people. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I would just kind of just keep experimenting, because I'm evolving all the time. Like, I've just rebranded again because my message is now a bit different than it was last year, because I'm different. So be okay with that. Just stand up and say, here I am. This is who I am at the moment. And things may change. And I'm okay.
Yes, because that is so true. And I've just been through that myself. I was working with women in corporate, and now I'm like, no, I'm being called to work with those lovers out there that are in the heartbreak, that are in the trenches in the thick of the mud of it. And I love that you can just pivot wherever your soul is calling you right now to be leading you to. And for so long, we're like, oh, I fit in this box and I'm not allowed out of this box, because that was the way we were conditioned, right? It was almost that you go to this one job and you're there for 20 years. Otherwise, if you leave, you're a failure. And then we kind of went through that transformation. Well, you know what? I want to change careers. And now I think we see the entrepreneurs going, you know what? I don't have to be providing the same service. My gifts are changing. I'm bringing on new things, and I need to evolve with that in order to up level the whole world. And I just love that so many women in particular are speaking into this.
Absolutely. And I love it too. And it does take courage, because you kind of do worry about what people think. It's like, oh, she's a bit flighty. She keeps changing who she is. But, you're not really flighty. You're still the same person. You're just bringing your gifts in a different, evolved way. And so don't be scared to kind of put a stamp on who you are, and don't be scared to change it. And one of the beautiful things about human design, when I learned human design, and yours as well, is that all of those years I was beating myself up for constantly changing and not being that, one career, one office desk for 30 years and then retire, right? Constantly beating myself up about it. But when I found out my human design, that's not who I am. I'm here to experience all aspects of life and then teach it. And that's not going to be one thing.
Yeah. I
Not going
love
to be
that.
one thing. So yeah, I mean, once you kind of know all the different aspects about yourself, it makes it easier to go with your flow as well. And you know things about yourself which you now understand why you're so creative and why you've got all these things happening. And you also know that other people perhaps can't do that, and that's okay. They do things in their own way. And knowing, just really knowing yourself. Um, but there's constantly new information always coming up, isn't there? Whether it's physical stuff we're learning or whether it's spiritual shift and a different kind of understanding. I mean, this year's been intense with the upgrades.
Haven't that though? Yes. I feel like at the tower moment happening like every other day, I feel like everything is burning to the ground and I'm on my knees. And then suddenly the sun is out and there's rainbows in the sky and then we're back to burning. But that's the
Yeah,
beautiful evolution of life.
it is an evolution of life. And I mean, it doesn't happen all the time, but it's happening at a more frequent rate. Like what I think today, sometimes I'll wake up the next morning and have a totally different concept about life.
Mhm.
And I accept that now. I used to fight that off, but I accept that now. And I'm like, okay. I mean, we're here for new perspectives.
Mm,
We're here to really step in and be curious about life, I guess.
absolutely. So and then I want to ask Trish, like everyone talks about money, everyone talks about sex, everyone talks about those really juicy things in life. Why peace? Why do we need inner peace in our world? Why write the book on that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting, isn't it? Because when you talk, yeah, as you say, when you talk to people about what they want to manifest, it's better relationships, more money, all the rest of it, right? House, new car. Why would I need peace for that? But when your mind and your body is in chaos, you're not actually manifesting what you think you're manifesting. You're actually manifesting solutions to problems you think you have. And that doesn't bring you um, what it is you truly want. Um, so when you've got that deeper kind of inner peace, you're not making decisions from fear. You're not making decisions based on solving a problem in your life. You're making decisions based on what would really feel like fun. What would be fun to have next? So when you're in chaos, you might be going, oh, I need to manifest more money. I need to manifest more money. I'm going to do this and this and this. And it doesn't matter what you do to manifest it, it won't come. Or you might find, $1 on the road. um, and then it's like, oh, I'm always broke. I need more money. I'm always broke. I need more money. So you're trying to solve a problem. But when you're in a state of peace and acceptance with everything, you're becoming more from, wow, I wonder what it would be like to have this amount of money. That would be so much fun. I'd like to try that now. And you're not trying to solve anything. You're just creating a new experience, right? So when you've got that inner peace, you definitely make better decisions when you're manifesting, but you also make better decisions in everyday life as well. And we were talking before, and I said, the last few weeks, I've had a little bit of cortisol overload and lots of stuff kind of happening, and it's the most anxious I think that I've felt in a long time, and I just thought, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I've never felt this anxious. I was very, getting upset no matter who spoke to me. I really was just kind of locking myself away. Um, and I really took the time over the last week, probably from Wednesday, to really just feel into why am I not feeling peace like I used to? Why am I not feeling that peace? And I really just took the time to nurture that and just really tune into what my body wanted. And then it got to the point yesterday where I've shifted from that turbulent emotion, like a turbulent ocean, to a really, um, when we were water skiing, when I used to water ski, we used to call it glass, and water like glass. And I felt such a difference, and nothing affected me yesterday at all. And some things were thrown at me, and nothing affected me. And the most amazing day. And today's been kind of the same. And I thought, wow, what a difference. And the people who are constantly in chaos don't know that difference until they get in that inner peace. And as I'm working with, people in the 50s, 60s like myself, sometimes they don't recognize that they're in that chaos up until this point, because all of a sudden their marriage will end, or they'll leave a career, or their children leave home, and their life is different. And they're like, okay, I shouldn't really be feeling chaos because there's nothing here that's chaotic, but I can't feel inner peace. And from that point of view, they can't really tune into who they really are. They can't take those next steps in their life where they really want to be. They can't trust themselves. They have no confidence. But once they really tune into that inner peace, like maybe they had when they were 20, full of confidence, yeah, really peaceful. Yeah, I'm going to make that decision. It feels right. Rather than at 50, it's like, oh, I need to make that decision because I need this problem solved. Right? That's not peaceful. So really getting to that state of peace and acceptance for yourself and for life, it does help you move forward, but it also helps you cope with life as well. And life isn't always peaceful. You can't create a peaceful life 24/7, but you can have that peace and acceptance within you 24/7 when you're aware of it. And it's really making those decisions in the moment, isn't it? Oh, okay, I can feel myself getting a little bit rocky here. Okay, what could I do? Am I go and meditate, or I'll go and ground myself, or I'll just breathe to get back to that peaceful feeling. It's better for your life in general. It's better for your health.
Definitely.
Your body will start screaming at you the more chaos you're in.
And that's when we wait too long. But thank you for normalizing that even as a woman who is an expert in this specific area, you had a period where you were out of peace. And I think that is like such a powerful thing to acknowledge, because otherwise we had so many spiritual bypasses where you're like positive all the time. You've got to be like in the Zen zone. We've got to be light and love all the friggin' time. And it's exhausting because, as you said, it's not life. So we fall in and out, and it's up to us to acknowledge it and bring our awareness back to it. And that's part of the learning journey we're on. So it's so beautiful to see a leader just go, you know what, I'm there and I'm not there. And it's me bringing myself back up. And that's what you're teaching people. Like, it's okay to be human.
Yeah, absolutely. And this time around that it's happened, I've learned something else to teach because I got out of it in a different way. So yeah, it's just really interesting how it happens. And I also learned a lot about myself and what actually put me in chaos in the beginning. So you learn something different every time, and then that helps me kind of teach others, and that you'll know this as well. But as soon as we upgrade what we're experiencing and what we're teaching, we have people flowing to us that are going through the same thing. And it's like,
Definitely.
I help you. I was just there.
And it makes it so much more real because I can empathize and you can empathize with that person. We're not just going, yep, ticking some boxes on this checklist that yep. It's actually like, yeah, I've been there. I've felt those emotions. And you know what? You don't have to stay there. Let me show you what I did.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So that deep inner peace is really peace with yourself. That's that self-love element that is all through your book as well. Because when we're not feeling inner peace, it's usually because we're wanting to get validated in some way by the external, because we don't feel like we're enough. And we don't have the confidence, or we're scared of rejection. That was my big story for a long time. Scared of rejection, need to be validated, not enough, not good enough, all the rest of it creates this chaos, and then you attract more. But when you have that feeling of deep inner peace, everything just starts flowing in rather than slamming you in the hand. Flows in with ease and grace, and you're like, wow, I love being peaceful. But acceptance of everything is all really important too. And I know you know this as well, that when you're in constant regrets or blame or anger from things that might have happened 10, 20, 30 years ago, you cannot find peace. And especially if it's somebody else that you're angry at, it's like being angry at them and expecting it. What's that saying? It's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die, right?
That is the second time I've heard that saying in about as many days. So obviously I need to be listening to that message. Got that. Thanks, universe.
Yeah. And so that's a big part of my book as well. Acceptance, forgiveness of yourself and other people, not because you're condoning anything, but because it helps you right now. Why torture yourself, your mind, and your body with something that happened in the past, whether it was yesterday or 30 years ago? Why torture it? Because your body reacts as if it's happening now. If you're talking about someone who really hurt you like 10 years ago, your body's reacting to that now, and you're just hurting yourself. So the big part of my book is that acceptance of self, acceptance of your life up to now, and just that deep inner peace of being in the moment and being present and being curious about what's next, not being in fear about what's next or being anxious or being in that anger of the past. Yeah, it's really, but once again, being in the present moment isn't always easy. It's a conscious choice.
It is. I love the practical tools and practices within the book. I found all of them great because it took me out of my head and it actually got me embodying the Sarah who was there to come out through this piece. What it also did for me was it allowed me to create an awareness of where I wasn't feeling peace, like the areas of my life. I could actually break them down. I actually still have them up on my wall in my bedroom because it was areas such as the job I was doing, co-parenting, relationships with other people, things that you can't control everything about the interactions or the situations. But I learned from the book that I could control the peace that I was bringing to those situations. And so I now have just ease and grace with everything categorized as my daily reminder that I am showing up for it this way.
It's so important, isn't it? And so powerful that you explained that, because just because you don't feel peaceful at your job doesn't mean you've got to ditch the job. Because if you're not feeling peaceful there, you won't feel peaceful at the next one either. Same with relationships, right? So, and I actually help a lot of clients with the workplace issues because, we just got to find that, well, what parts of it do you love? And just focus on that, not the stuff that you don't love. And that brings the inner peace, and people can go and do that job in full acceptance that it's their choice to be there. So there's no resentment. So the resentment goes. And then focus on what it is about that job that you love. And even if this job brings me security, and pays my rent, even if that's the focus, that's enough to bring in a peace and show up there every day, rather than the resentment of it. And there's a lot of mindset in relationships as well. I mean, some relationships, as you know, you've got to leave or not even get started with. Everyone needs to read your book.
Definitely buy a copy, everyone.
Yeah, exactly. But ultimately, even in a relationship, you've got to find that peace and that love within yourself. You can't expect all of that validation from somebody else. There's a lot of pressure to put on somebody else. Like, I can't be happy unless you make me happy. It's a lot of pressure.
Isn't that a mirror for us, right? Because we hold it all within ourselves and yet we keep outsourcing it as a choice.
We do outsource it.
Right. And Trish, what can someone expect from a session with you? Like if they're coming to work with you and they're showing up, what can they expect to experience?
Yeah. So I will help change perspective. I think one of the biggest things is that people really leave with a beautiful sense of peace, actually. And that's been happening since I was 17. Yeah, that's been happening. It's like whether you're on Zoom or you come to me, it's like you leave like you've had a big warm hug of peace, and you just feel better. But I definitely will change perspective for you on what it is that you feel stuck in. I'll find solutions for you. And that's just in one session. I also pull cards and bring messages in from spirit. For the people who work with me over a period of months, we do go through the peace process, and it's a rinse and repeat. And once you've got these tools and these practices, you can use it for a lifetime. You can just keep going on to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, because there's always a next thing.
Just for our listeners, I think I've done the peace process about 6 or 7 times, and my favorite practices I pull out just like at random as well. So
yeah, and it becomes so easy. Like the first time, it takes a little while, but it just becomes so easy. So, and with that peace process, when we're not forcing any change, the change happens automatically because you already see yourself in the reality where it's already true. And so, when you can see yourself in that reality and it's already true, then kind of, it's not a transformation either. It's like a shift. It's like you start thinking differently. You start thinking like the person who already is in the reality you want. So it's just a much different kind of process. But so that's what happens. And full support. And I like to be organic. I know the peace process has steps, but it's very organic how I work with people, and I really give you help with whatever you show up with at the time. It could be different every time.
what?
Yeah. And I just like to give people support and a clear direction forward. Is also what I like, because a lot of people get caught up they're just paralyzed. They can't move forward. They're 20 steps ahead, and they're like, I can't do that. But just getting clear on the next step and then the next one is really the way forward. And I really like to give people clear direction. And the other thing that I just want to say is that a lot of the time people come to me with a problem, but it's not actually the problem. So intuitively, I know what the problem is when you come to me, and we sort that out.
But we like to have our blinkers on, don't we? Like, is it? And I don't want to see what the real work is out here. You need hand holding for that.
I'm happy to hear what you think the problem is. There's actually another problem.
Always and always deeper layers of it.
Always, yeah.
Thank you, Trish. How can people connect with you?
Yes, you can connect with me on my website at trishrock.com or at Linktree, Trish Rock. You'll have all those links there, and just search Trish Rock on all the socials and it'll pop up.
Fantastic. We'll put it all in the descriptions as well, so people have been head to there and click straight on it. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think I love talking about this because, as I said, I have experienced so much transformation from it. I've done the peace process a few times, and I just think it's a beautiful gift that people can do. And you can do it in a session. You can pick up the book and do it, and actually really own who you are through it, which is the beautiful takeaway message I got from our chat today. Like just owning who we are, showing up in the world who we are, and being great with that evolving and changing, and really celebrating that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, I just got goosey bumps.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you, Empresses, for joining us today. Remember, share this episode with the people that sprung to your mind as you were listening to it, because I'm sure you had a couple. Make sure you subscribe to hear the next episode as soon as it drops. And we hope that you have a magical day. Thank you so much.